Yeah, I'm muted. I was muted that whole time.
Oh, wow.
Mm. Mm.
How about
What?
now? There we go.
Is that working then?
Yeah, we're back now.
Is that coming through? Okay,
We're
that's
back. We're here. Yeah, this is my clone trooper helmet. Yeah.
What kind of Goodwills do you go to? Because I want to go to those Goodwills.
Local ones.
Oh.
Yeah.
Still nice.
I mean,
you got to go to ones that are in urban, like more densely populated areas to find cool stuff.
I get all kinds of weird stuff at Goodwills. So now, like, here are the last 3 big purchases I got at Goodwill. This clone trooper helmet that I have behind me, like $7. A record player with 2 tape decks and like a spot to keep like 10 cassettes.
Oh, incredible.
So I can record onto cassettes from cassettes.
Finally.
Yeah,
you can play them in your car.
I can make mixtapes like it's 1985.
Oh, make me a mixtape.
Stealing money from the record industry.
And then a 27 by 40 poster, which is the size that I collect.
Yeah.
Poster framed, a framed poster of Jack Bauer from season 3 of 24.
That's really great.
Yeah. Those are my
I understand
last.
why that got there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Ryan, 24 was a
What?
great show.
Yeah, that's for a different topic.
Yeah.
That's for a different show for me to go off on that.
That was a great show during the Bush administration.
Oh boy. Oh
Yeah.
yes, it was.
That's the polite way to say it.
Yes, yes, it is. Oh man. Let's just get into it.
That
Shall
we might
we?
as well. Yeah.
Everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
And the following events occur in real time. Today we're going to be talking about Ryan's pick for the week, which is Godzilla Minus One. Before we get into that, we like to talk about things that we watch in pop culture. We have a few things to talk about this week before we get started. I'm going to start us off because I know Devin's the Disney guy, but I saw Inside Out 2 this weekend.
I'm so freaking jealous.
How was it?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. Got to take my niece to the Cumberland Drive-In for the first time. So it was her first
Nice.
drive-in experience. Got to go with the family, which was bizarre because I was like, I can remember the last time I was here with my mom. I have no idea the last time I went to the drive-in with my dad. But it was weird, like going to the drive-in and just thinking about like, I've been going here for over 20 years, like, and like just thinking back of all the movies that I've seen there, like the ones that I saw 20 years ago, like summer 2004 was peak drive-in for me.
Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2, Shrek 2.
Yeah.
But no, Inside Out 2 was good. It kind of explained some of the problems I had. Like I rewatched Inside Out with my niece she came over and we watched it on the projector. I rewatched it with her. I was like, why are the emotions in such control of Riley and the whole situation? And Inside Out 2 kind of deals with that. Like,
oh, cool.
Addresses that. It's weird that they didn't get back some of the main voices. Like Bill Hader's not here. Minnie Kindling's not here.
Oh.
I mean, they swapped out Bill Hader with Tony Hale. So it's like,
ooh, all right.
Like that one makes sense, but
I like Tony Hale.
And you have Louis Black as Anger, so that still worked. What? Whose microphone is that?
It's got him.
Yeah, that's you. It's definitely you.
Yeah, and he's no sound.
Now we can't hear you.
Technical difficulties still not coming through, man.
Keep talking.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, there
now.
we go.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, good. I don't know what happened. Don't worry about it.
No, Inside Out 2 is good. I did not stick around for the second film at the drive-in, which was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, even though I wanted to.
Oh man,
I'm not like I had a long drive back from the drive-in, so I was like, I'm gonna dip after this one. So, but no, it's fun. There was a post-credit scene if you do go. So,
okay. The one thing I've heard about it is people like it ruins the first movie and makes it makes the first movie not make any sense, because if Riley gets all these emotions when she's a teen, why don't the parents have those emotions in their head? Like, the first one clearly establishes that you only have these emotions. What's going on, Pixar? We hate you.
It's a Pixar movie about emotions.
And
Oh my god.
I'll say this: those people didn't stay for the credits.
What, really?
Yeah, you get to see the parents' anxiety come out like during
Oh,
the
that's
credits.
cool.
Like, they remember how they did the credits where they cut to like the different people's emotions.
Yeah, yeah.
They did that again, and then you got to see the mom and dad's anxieties come out.
Oh, that's fun. Do they
Yeah.
address like Adderall or something? Like pop an Adderall and like the anxiety one like dies.
Yes, Devin. In the Disney Pixar film, they put a 13-year-old on Adderall and kill one of her emotions. What the
It's
hell
all
is
I
wrong
asked
with
for.
you? What the hell?
Everything's wrong with me today.
Alan, I've stopped asking that question out loud.
I've
after
never
our
asked that
first
question
episode
on the
with
show
Kevin.
before.
Yeah, I know, but I have several times mentally. And,
Not only-
and I stopped actually asking, again, at episode 4 that he was with us.
Not only that, you learn that the hunter that killed Bambi's mom is named Adderall, and he's the one who does it.
That makes sense.
yeah.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
Unified Disney theory. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. Good. Perfect movie then. No notes.
Yes, no notes. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Inside Out. If you like the first one, you'll probably enjoy the second one. So,
Very cool.
Devin, you watched The Boys season 5, 4, 5,
Season 3. I'm a year behind.
Oh, you're
That's why
behind.
That's why I was like so embarrassed to send you the poster. So for those of you to get a quick peek behind the podcast, Alan goes, "Has anyone watched anything?" And I said, "The Boys season 3." He goes, "Can you give me a poster?" And I was like ashamed to do it because I'm a year behind on The Boys. So I finally caught up to where I should have been last year.
Okay. Are you gonna what? Are you
Have
gonna
you guys
wait a-
seen this?
I've seen the last season.
Yeah.
I'm not caught up on the new season. I have seen season 3
Same.
But you guys have both
Same.
seen the one that I just saw.
with
Yeah.
with Jensen Ackles.
Yeah.
What's his name? Soldier Boy.
Soldier Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soldier Boy.
Guys,
Tell him.
it's,
Yeah.
it's so good. What was I doing last year?
I don't know.
Mentioned it. We mentioned
I
it
know
to
you
to watch.
did. And I probably went, I gotta watch that. I'm probably like, I'm sure if you like hear play me back, like I said exactly, I gotta watch that. I feel so dumb. This was so good. Like, I forgot what The Boys was about until like the second or third scene of the first episode, where they go to the party, and I won't explain it in detail on the podcast, but they do a Thanos on the front end to someone with Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Ah! But then I also went, yeah, I kind of missed this. So, like, yeah, it's a really good show. And I heard that this most recent season is just as good. And it's making some people realize, finally, that maybe Homelander's not the good guy, which you probably should have caught the whole time.
But yeah, I probably should have caught that a bit earlier on.
Yeah.
So-
I'm a part of 2 The Boys like fan groups on Facebook, and
Yeah.
it's been a complete war since season 4 dropped.
I can't wait to watch it. Like, I don't know. It just, their social commentary is so good. Like, the whole, like in the season I just watched where they were like, Soldier Boy's not real. You're all safe. Go back to your normal lives. Is COVID. And then they all did that Imagine song, but with like all of my favorite comedians, which is so good. Like, I don't know. It made me relove the series. I'm gonna start 4 soon. I'll catch up to the rest of the world soon. I love it.
Okay. Are you gonna watch Gen V before you watch season 4?
You know, I'm thinking about it because I don't usually love teeny things like that, but I'll watch anything in that season, and it's pretty like it's got like a higher rating than The Boys does right now on Amazon.
Yeah.
But that also might be because the review bomb, so I'm not sure. But I might.
It is.
Is it good?
No idea.
Got it. Okay. Well, I might
Yeah.
watch that.
Yeah. Ryan, you feel up to talking about what you picked for We Watch This?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So I watched I'm caught up on the Acolyte. it's a it's a decent Star Wars show for like post everything that we know.
Hmm.
Um, I'm having some issues where I don't know if I like it or not, mainly because, um, and this isn't really spoilers, it happens at the very start of the show. The main character goes up to a Jedi and just kind of like leans into like a Power Ranger pose and just says, "Attack me." And I'm just
Oh.
like, that's so stupid. Like, it was such a bad choice for me to like, it's like for me and what I like, I'm not sure if I don't like the acting, if I don't like the writing, if I don't like the directing. I'm not sure yet what it is I don't like about the show. But there are times when like characters will speak and I'm just like, that's what they came up with? And then there's other times where I'm like, that seemed kind of flat. So I don't know. Maybe it's just not my thing. But it's a decent story. I like where they're going with it. I like the idea that they're proposing in the show. And I like the fact that they're diving more into the witches aspect of like the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of positives.
Here's my take on it. I think we talked about this briefly before. It's very hard for me to say if I like the show this early on because there's a lot we don't know about the show. I will say that I'm intrigued by the storytelling. I think they did some interesting twists with the marketing for the show that I think people had to adjust to immediately because the way they marketed the show is kind of deceiving. Killing off a main character who's in the advertising in the first episode. In the first 5 minutes of the episode, actually. But it's what I like about it is we have very little connection to any other story in Star Wars. The only character who's shown up, we've had one character show up who we've seen in Star Wars before, in the films and TV shows and everything, and like you got to have Saw Gerrera in there, so like it makes sense.
Oh no! They did it.
No,
Darn
it's not Saw Gerrera. But Devin,
Yeah.
do you want to take a guess at what obscure Jedi shows up in the Acolyte?
An obscure Jedi?
Yes.
Is it
Can I give him a clue if he gets it wrong?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it Darth Plagueis the Wise?
No.
No.
Darn
Okay.
it! That would have been so cool.
I'm gonna say the line, and you better get this because this is gonna be.
Wait. Can I
In
give
your
him?
face.
Can I give him a clue before that one? Mine's a little less on the nose.
Okay.
Okay.
They are in Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Okay. Oh, say the line. I think I know the line.
But what about the
About the
Wookiees?
droid attack on the Wookiees.
But what about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
Yeah. How is
He
he
shows
that
up.
old?
Yeah.
Aliens.
He's that old. And
It's
Is
only
he that old?
It's only 100 years before Phantom Menace, so it's
That's
not.
still pretty old.
I mean, Yoda's around.
Yeah.
Oh, is Yoda around?
Mm-hmm.
He would be, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
But he's not on the show though. Not yet, anyway.
not yet. But yeah, Kal Mundi with brown hair instead of gray hair.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Young.
That and there's something about the show that I think I have it pegged already from like the
Okay.
first episode. I'm not gonna say what I think, but I have a feeling there's a certain character that is the one. I'm not sure if Alan knows what I'm referencing to or not.
the guy.
There's a character that I already have $20 on saying she's the baddie.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay, we'll talk.
Can we
Yeah.
play? Can we play my favorite game?
Yes.
Can we play a game of Explain the Internet to me, please?
Okay.
Why does the internet hate this so much? It's not going to affect me. I'm going to like it or not.
Devin, have you talked to a Star Wars fan since 2015?
That's kind of all you had to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my first experience with this, I love Star Wars, but my first experience with the Star Wars fandom online was back in 2005 when I went on to a Star Wars forum on MySpace and I asked a simple question because I had never read any of the EU, just only a TV fan, and I said that. Hey, I've only seen the movies, Has there ever been a character with a black lightsaber? Which we know now is the dark saber. Okay.
Yeah. But that's a
I
cool
got
question for 2005.
dragged. I got dragged in that forum by like 200 people. Like there was about 500 comments on it of people going, "Oh, how big of an idiot! Of course, there's black lightsaber. That's impossible." And like people would get into like the physics of it, like the made-up physics. And I just responded back with, "Hey guys, you can't hear explosions in space, so maybe calm down a little."
Did you
And I
respond
just-
like 10 years later
and I
with a
left
picture
the
of the
forum.
canon darksaber and like, remember this?
I didn't know that the darksaber even existed back then, or even if it did, I had
you
no
should,
idea.
You should go back to
Go
that
back.
forum and post
Yep.
the Darksaber and just be like, like 15 years later, like, hey,
Checkmate.
Yeah, it was at that moment that I decided never to go online for Star Wars advice.
You're not wrong. I want to watch the show because I heard that it's a fun time period and it's a fun thing.
It is.
I'm excited to watch it. I'll wait another year apparently to watch it.
well, and the other thing is like, I haven't gotten into the High Republic stuff. Like I have some of the books somewhere. I just haven't gotten into it yet. But there's a whole subset of Star Wars folks who have been reading the comics and reading the novels that are set in the High Republic, because this is like their whole big story arc that they're doing now. Is like they're focusing on this time period that we haven't really explored in canon, even in the video games. Like it's post Old Republic stuff, Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I think that's a few hundred years before Phantom Menace,
that's pretty
I think.
cool.
This is about 100 years. So like people who've been experiencing High Republic stuff for the last few years are getting their day on Disney Plus with this new show. So it's like, if it's not for you, it's not for you. You don't have like, there's enough hate on the internet. You don't have to add more to it. Like
You aren't Star Wars, like whatever. If you
Yeah.
don't like it, it's fine. I think the thing that bugs me is when people start like calling other people dumb for liking something. It doesn't matter at all.
Mhm.
Not at all. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. If someone likes it, fine.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Sorry, now I'm just like awash in bad internet comments that I've
Yeah.
seen before.
One last thing I forgot to pull a poster for, but I figured I'd mention here. Devin, are you caught up on House of Dragons?
No, I haven't seen a single second of it. In fact, I just warned someone away from Game of Thrones like 2 weeks ago.
Did you watch the first season?
Not even a second of it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Tell me all about it. Is it good?
I enjoyed the first season. It reminds me of Game of Thrones when it was good.
Okay, that's
Like
good.
if you ignore, like, it reminds me of like early days of Game of Thrones, and they did something in the premiere that started this weekend. That is like, oh, that's the big thing from the books that everyone was all up in arms about. I get
heard
it.
I heard they changed. Wait, these were books?
They did a book on the Targaryens.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, because I read like the mainline books, and then I know that they did a separate one with 2 characters, but I didn't know they did a book about the Targaryens.
Yeah. There's
Oh.
yeah.
Was it cool?
I'm not gonna say it was cool, but it's definitely, yep. That's Game of Thrones is back. Like, welcome back to Game of Thrones.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the season fun?
I wouldn't say it's fun. I'll tell you off the show what they
Okay,
do.
I have an advert
and-
for it like right outside my window, so I
Okay.
am intrigued.
What is it? The Windsors are House Black or something? Because that's
yeah.
what they've been putting banners up all over the place. Like,
Oh yeah. Well, they
Yeah.
put a dragon on the Empire State Building, didn't they?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm so happy I'm out of the loop on that stuff.
Yeah.
Why?
I just think putting a dragon on that building is a little silly, but that's a personal thing.
I
I get advertising, and I find advertising cool, and it's definitely a boardroom meeting that I would have been like that would have been cool to have been a part of, but like
Devin, my main question for House of Dragons for you is, how do you feel about Matt Smith?
love him. Absolutely love him. I mean,
Watch House of Dragons. Like,
Okay.
forget the boys. Watch House of Dragons.
okay.
Because I'm not a huge Matt Smith fan.
Yeah.
I like him in this.
Oh shit.
He
Okay.
he makes a very good Targaryen.
That's cool. I like that because I know a bit
So-
about him.
Yeah. So
All right. You sold me.
yeah. Let's get into today's main topic. Godzilla Minus One, starring Matthew Broderick. Nope. Sorry. Godzilla Minus One. The Godzilla film that came out last year that went on to win the Oscar for Best Visual Effects. And that's all I'm going to say because this is Ryan's pick, so I'm going to let him take it away. Take it away, Ryan.
Okay, so I apologize about my voice and my speed of talking. Not feeling well, but anyway.
Probably won't be a long episode today. We'll probably do this a little bit shorter.
It'll be fine. Yeah. So this movie this movie came out of the blue for me last year with the advertising. Didn't hear a word about it until maybe a few weeks before it was going to come out in theaters. Huge Godzilla fan. I mean, Godzilla crossing sign above my head. And it is in the top 3 category for it's one of my top 3 favorite Godzilla movies. I saw it twice in theaters. I'm still waiting for the Blu-ray to come out. I watched it in Japanese and in English the day that it dropped on Netflix. And I love every part of it. I love the symbolism in it. I love the fact that the movie's layered as much as it is because there's 3 different ways of looking at it, which we're going to touch on a little bit. But I want to get to you guys. So when did you first hear about it if it wasn't from me? And what you guys think initially?
Devin, you go first.
So, I was the one that told you about Godzilla Minus One. And if actually, Alan, if we could pull up that clip of me introducing Ryan to Minus One, go ahead. Go ahead and pull that clip.
I don't got it.
Damn it! All right.
If you send it to me, If you send it to me, I'll throw it in post.
No, we don't need to do that.
No, I kind of want to find it.
Good, I will. I was the one that introduced you to this on the podcast, and I was like, "How do you feel about Minus One?" You go, "I don't know what that is." And I remembered this scene because in the middle of it, I went, Romana, this is the scene that Ryan liked in the trailer, and it was him holding the train in his mouth.
Yeah.
So I had found out about it 2 seconds before I told you about it. I saw Godzilla and went, have to tell Ryan, and then I told you. You had told me you saw it in theaters during one of the We Watch This segments, and you went, Devin, go see this in theaters. You're going to regret it, especially with his roar. You're going to regret not seeing this in theaters. Ryan, I regret not seeing this in theaters. I'm such an idiot.
I knew you would.
Such an idiot. My God. I don't know if we're getting into thoughts and impressions, but that's my history with this movie.
Okay.
I had heard about it from Devin on the show. And then a lot of the college students that I work with who are film students were like, yeah, we're going to go see Godzilla Minus One. It's like, well, have fun. Enjoy it. Let me know what you think. And I've just heard good things about it. Wanted to go see it in theaters, didn't get a chance to, but I was able to watch. I'm glad. And then it got to the point where I was like, I know we're gonna watch it for the show, so I will hold off until then. And not to brag, but I've got a pretty decent setup at home, so I got a big enough screen that it was good enough to watch Godzilla on.
Yeah.
So
good. Okay, so before I start explaining why I love this movie so much because of its meaning and its messaging and the different metaphors that happen inside the film, which is why this movie is done so well and why a lot of Godzilla saying this is one of the best Godzilla movies to come out in years, 30, 40 years. What were your guys' impressions? What did you like? What didn't you like? Stuff that you might be confused on, or whatever.
I'm going to say this, and at a certain point, Ryan, you're responsible for this. This is the first non-American Godzilla film that I've seen.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed it. I like that it wasn't just the monster destroying everything. It wasn't just the monster fights in Power Rangers without the Megazords.
Yeah.
It was a very human story, very compelling characters, very well done visual effects. Like they had a low budget and they used it very well.
10 to 12 million. Yeah.
Yeah. And they used it creatively. Yeah, I was very impressed with this.
Okay. Awesome.
Everything.
Devin?
Just all of it. All of it, all of it, all of it. This is my favorite Godzilla. I'm going to list a couple of my top things I like. First off, Godzilla. Amazing, right? So Godzilla does this thing in this movie where he goes from adorable, because there's a time when he's like swimming in the water with his little tail going, and I'm like, I just want to pinch his little cheeks because he's cute. And then he'll go to like big lumbering Godzilla that you have on the sign behind you with his arms like stock still against his chest, doing like the walk through, like where it's just like, look at that silly lizard just lizarding through the town. And then he'll like turn and it'll be the scariest thing I've ever seen on film. There's a couple of shots in here where I literally went, whoa.
Mhm.
Like, of Godzilla. Like, they nailed his model perfectly. I love it. But also I love the fact that he's a metaphor. Godzilla's supposed to be a metaphor, and they made him a metaphor. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. And the other thing I really liked about this movie, because I could talk forever about it, but the last thing I'll talk about for this is the humans didn't spend the whole movie figuring out what Godzilla is. Thank you, movie. Because that's like what every movie has been, is there's an oceanic disturbance. What could this be? Like, the title of the movie is Godzilla. Just tell, and then the movie gets that. Like, 3 seconds in, he shows up on an island. They go, oh, that's Godzilla. The main guy goes, that's Godzilla? They go, that's Godzilla. Done. From there on out, we know the name, we know what it is, we know what threat it is. Let's do and tell an interesting story on top of that, and not just try to do science around a lizard we haven't seen yet. I thought it was incredible. The human story was great. The plot didn't necessarily go in places that I wanted to, and I'm going to need an explanation for that ending, Ryan. I did some Googling, but I want more.
Okay. Just to prepare you, the answer might be it hasn't been explained yet. Depending on what your question is.
But then maybe some of my internet research can help fill some things in, and you can tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, okay. So the core thing of what I love about this movie is the messaging, is the metaphors. Yeah. And you've got 3 layers to this. You've got the metaphor of his PTSD and his survivor's guilt from being a surviving kamikaze pilot, and dealing with Japanese like honor culture from back in the day.
Yeah.
And then you have another metaphor that when I was watching it today, I'm not sure it was meant to be in there, and I might just be making things up in my head. But when they're collecting mines, you can also work that into the main metaphor as well. And that's what I meant by there's 3 different types going on at the same time. Like, you've got the actual lizard thing attacking everyone, like Godzilla attacking, and you know, that being like what's actually happening. And then you have it standing in for his PTSD, and then the mines and what that symbolizes. So before we get into all that, the effects are amazing in this, and for the budget they had, like, I am happy they won the award. As a big Godzilla fan, I still feel that the creator should have won that. But that's a different thing entirely. One of my favorite moments.
Can we talk about that for a second? Because I kind of was thinking about that too. What's impressive about Godzilla is there are a lot of special effects shots that look great.
Yeah.
But the main thing about Godzilla versus the creator is Godzilla, it cuts away to the shots of Godzilla and then it cuts back to the humans. So it's like you have your A shots and your B shots. Your B shots are being your special effects shots.
Yeah.
So you have those 2 separated. There's not any human walking up to Godzilla, really.
Yeah.
Like anytime you see Godzilla, it's CG. There's no real element to it unless it's people running in the foreground.
Yeah.
The creator, there was special effects in every shot of that, and it also had a very low budget.
Yeah.
And it's very they do a much better job of seamlessly mixing in this visual effects in the creator than they do in this, and just because it's part of that world where they're showing you what this world looks like in every shot, and you have a character who is their head is mostly a visual effects shot. Whereas this one, they're cutting to the visual effects to show you. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy Godzilla won, but they are two very different styles of visual effects. In presentations. So
I feel like sorry.
I'll step off of my soapbox.
No. I completely agree with everything you said. That is exactly my reasoning for saying that the creator should have won for Godzilla for personally. But again, being the Godzilla fan, I'm happy that he finally. And if that was kind of like a hand me to Godzilla, like, hey, he finally made it, let's just give him something, I'm okay with that. I don't care. But one of from the trailer, Godzilla is with the train in his mouth because that's something that happens in the original. But one of my favorite like scary moments, like Devin, like you were talking about, it's tied when he's chasing the boat behind it. When like they're showing him staring at the boat like a cat, which the director modeled Godzilla's behavior off of his own cat. So
I love it. I can tell.
There's that.
You can tell.
Especially with the plane flying by and Godzilla's just like going back and forth on it. But anyway, that moment, because it's just like the look in his eyes, like just dead on, and the fact that they did such a good job of making waves in the water around him that matched the ocean and everything. That, and then the moment where he's having the like bubbles in his blood because he ascended out of the ocean so quickly that he's getting that like the bends in him, and he's about to and he's about to shoot his heat ray, and his eyes are white because his eyes are about to pop out of his head. Like those are the two craziest scenes for me in it.
I mean, I had a couple of times just like turned around and be like, this is so cool. Like anytime he uses his like heat ray is like the coolest thing. Like, I don't know, it makes him really dangerous and like really, I mean, and I guess it's silly to say that, but I mean, in a series that's included Godzilla Jr., like, I think it's always nice sometimes to take it back to like why he's a big threat.
Well, I want to get back to that later in the show about like the Showa era of Godzilla and like the silly movies, because that's relevant. To get to, if everyone's okay with it, to get to like to the metaphors and like everything else throughout the movie. So the best way for me to explain it is just to go from the beginning. The opening shows the main character abandoning his mission and flying to Odo Island to just say, hey, my plane's not working. I need you to look it over. And he's lying because he doesn't want suicide.
Right.
It's pretty much all it is. And he's already starting to feel a bit of guilt because, again, of the way honor was taken in Japan around that time. So he's already feeling guilt about abandoning his mission. And so when Godzilla shows up, it's a baby Godzilla. He's like a little bit smaller than a T-Rex from Jurassic Park. And that just kind of shows like he's already starting to get that survival's guilt a little bit because he feels that he should have completed his mission and kamikazed into like a ship somewhere. And then because of everything that happens after the fact with Godzilla attacking the island, that's the physical part of it, the reality of it, of Godzilla actually like attacking everyone. He feels more responsible for that. So it gets worse and worse. And the next time Godzilla shows up, he is full-blown, full-sized Godzilla. And it's supposed to show, like, every time Godzilla shows up, and the damage that he imposes, it's a representation of how bad his PTSD is and how bad his survival's guilt is. Case in point, when Godzilla shows up and destroys their like city by Tokyo, he looks at like the little table where he has pictures of the soldiers that died on Odo Island, and he's looking at them like, is it okay? Can I finally dream again? Like, can I move on from this? And then the very next day, Godzilla destroys the city and puts him right back to square one again, which was the screaming part when he's looking up at the sky screaming and the black rain's coming down. Like, it's symbolizing he's back at square one again. He's back on that island again. Like, he's done.
You could say he's -1.
-1. Well, yeah. So
Is that what the title means?
So what -1 stands for is that when Japan post-war was at its lowest level it had ever been at. So it was basically at 0. And then Godzilla comes around and starts destroying cities that survived all of the American air raids.
Right.
It's like, now Japan's at -1 because now they're dealing with this. And their hands are tied by like the U.S. government because they can't use like ships that have guns on them.
That's right. They mentioned that in this.
Yeah. So, so there's that, and then of course, like at the end, when he finally takes down Godzilla, it's like him finally getting over it and choosing to live, and getting kind of a help from another veteran, which is. I love that because that's real. Like you have veterans reach out to other veterans for help, and that's how and that's how they help each other. And the third part of the metaphor for me that I mentioned with the mines. If you notice, the method that they use to cut the mines and bring them up to the surface is the same method they use to take down Godzilla. So the way I read that is that he's happy about getting the government job, about taking care of the mines, because it'll help the woman that he's living with and the kid, because they're all orphans. They all don't have parents, and they're not related to each other. I love the sequence in there because he gets happy that he got this job and he can support the family pretty much. That he can support the family, and he's feeling better. And the mines, to me, is a really good metaphor, and I'm just going to say the metaphor, is that you've got these mines in the water that are like thoughts and depth. And a normal person, or someone who doesn't really know a lot about, like your everyday person would go, look, just cut them out and forget about them. Like these things don't, it's not going, like whatever you're worried about isn't affecting you now. You're fine. You're here. You survived the war. Live on, man. Don't worry about it. And that's tantamount of what he was trying to do. Every mine he destroyed was a memory that he was thinking that he was getting rid of as they were popping each mine. And then when Godzilla showed up, it's like, yeah, that really wasn't working, even though you were having fun on the boat, man. Like, you're still dealing with this. It was just buried under the surface.
So hold on, the metaphor is that water sports don't solve all of our problems?
Water sports don't solve all of our problems, yes. Especially when you involve a 17mm gun.
I don't know, man. That sounds like it solves a lot of problems. We need to test this.
But I absolutely
It's a good metaphor.
love...
I like that.
It is. And I absolutely love this movie for what it does. And it puts it into the same category as the original Godzilla from 1954, I believe. The year is what I mean, I believe. And then Shin Godzilla, which is a response to the tsunami and the disaster at the nuclear plant that happened after.
Right.
A lot of people don't really like that one because they consider it like C-SPAN Godzilla, because it's a critique on how their government botched the response to dealing with the tsunami and dealing with the the nuclear plant. In fact, someone actually made a cut of Shin Godzilla where there's no Godzilla and it's just board meetings. Which, honestly, I would love to watch because the interactions in the meetings, like, it's a great sarcastic look at government bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And honestly, I might bring these on the show. Since Alan, you said you haven't seen like a foreign, like an actual Godzilla movie from Japan.
Yeah.
So I might bring in,
I've seen the MonsterVerse Godzilla movies, like the ones that started in 2015.
Yeah.
Or whenever, and I haven't seen the new one, and I've seen the Matthew Broderick one. Like that.
Yeah. So I already bought the Blu-ray of the new one because it just came out a few days ago. Like I made sure I got that. So, I'm gonna bring on eventually the first Godzilla movie, which is basically like about Japan dealing with the bomb going off twice on their country, and then Shin Godzilla, which is so overpowered because he's like a natural disaster stand-in.
Yeah,
love
it looked like Netflix had a bunch of them. So
They do. They do. And most of them are Shin era, which that has to do with the time period in Japan that they came out. And those movies are why I like the MonsterVerse movies, because the Shin Godzilla movies are just nonsense. They're like, Junior and like 15 monsters fighting each other constantly, and that's why I like the MonsterVerse, because that's a callback to like to the late 60s and 70s Godzilla movies, where they were just like Godzilla in one of the movies wraps himself up. He wraps himself up like a spiral shell. He tucks his tail between his legs, and he uses his heat breath to propel him through the air over Japan to get to where the other monster is. So like it's literally him flying backwards, spikes first,
so
like
weird.
vertical. So I mean, the original Godzilla movies are just bonkers, like bonkers nuts, and that's why I like the MonsterVerse ones, because they're bonkers nuts as well.
How do you guys like the fact that there was no kaiju fight in this? Like, this is actually the first one I've seen in a long time where like two monsters didn't punch each other for a while.
So when Godzilla is used traditionally as a metaphor, there is no kaiju fight, because it's Godzilla versus humanity because of something that happened, nuclear bomb blast, PTSD, or a natural disaster. You get the kaiju fights when you get into like I said, the Shin era, of Godzilla movies.
Alan, did you miss that? Did you miss the kaiju fight in this, or were you all right with it?
I didn't need it. I like that it was just them trying to find a plan to destroy Godzilla themselves. Because he's the threat. And I feel like if they were to do a sequel, then you can bring in the kaijus and do all that.
Which,
go ahead.
We can get to what, Devin, you were saying about stuff that you looked up, because this has to do with the sequel.
It does, but let me put one pin in that quick. The one thing that this movie did that I don't think a Godzilla movie has done to me is make me have very complicated emotions about what I want to happen to Godzilla at the end of the movie. Because I'm like, well, he's attacking Tokyo. You clearly got to get rid of him, but he's the good guy, right? Like, you can't kill the good guy. But no, he's
not in this.
He's the bad guy in this. And like, that's really, I don't know, it's like if you were to watch an Iron Man movie where like Iron Man's the bad guy and needs to be dealt with by the end of it. And I'm like, what? He's the cool one on the posters.
So Civil War.
Yeah, but not really. They like
not really.
They made him like a likable bad guy because his parents. But like, I don't know. That was a really cool moment for me where I was like, they got to kill him. I don't want him to.
That's one of the reasons why Kristen's not too hot on it. Like, she gets the metaphor and she appreciates it for that. But she likes Godzilla when Godzilla's the like reluctant hero of like Godzilla getting up out of the save you guys again. Well, you better watch out, because I'm not going to miss a building because it's not in my way. Like, just move. Like, she likes that type of Godzilla, like the reluctant hero type.
My Godzilla is the one that answers when a little boy talks on his wristwatch. That's
the Godzilla. Cartoon.
Yes. But no. Ending, quick. So, the part of the ending that I need explained to me, and I think I know what your answer is going to be, is the Rorschach tattoo thing that the lady has on her neck at the end of it, right?
Okay, so that thing grows as the scene goes on. Like, it starts under the collar and goes up her.
Yeah.
And if you're not paying attention, it just looks like hairs in the.
Like a little bit of like radiation on her.
But it's definitely her veins. And as far as I know, I can't find any explanation on that. The director has said that he's working on several scripts, and it might be years before he even lands on something.
Oh, wow.
But it's definitely planned. Like, something's planned, and they're trying to find something that fits.
Huh.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so when he comes into the hospital room at the end, and that whole thing, and he kneels down and like hugs her, and she's putting her head on his, and the camera pans over her a little bit. If you look at the collar on her shirt, on her neck, you'll see that like her veins are turning black and like raising up.
I completely missed that. I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah, so there's a lot of talk about what it might be
Yeah.
because, like, in the original Godzilla, the original one, they used something called an oxygen destroyer to try to kill Godzilla. And like in the 80s or 90s, they had Godzilla versus Destroyer, which
Yep.
Destroyer was created from the oxygen destroyer, and that's technically like the first movie that Godzilla like where like Toho was like, that's it, Godzilla's dead. We're not doing this anymore. And they were like, let's go back to the first movie and create a monster off of a weapon that was used to kill him as kind of like to end the metaphor from the first movie. And
Right.
like Godzilla is killed by like our own stupidness to like try to get rid of him or whatever. Um, um, but so there's a lot of people that are saying that like it's going to be one of those type of things. Like it's going to have to do with something with the fact that like he was charged up because like Godzilla was charged and he's a nuclear reactor when he's charged.
Yeah.
And when he got sunk down to the bottom of the trench, he turned off. And as far in my head, from what I know about Godzilla and the way that all that works, through all the different movies I've watched, he basically went into meltdown. So when he got the bends shooting back up and he recharged again and he got the plane in the mouth and poof,
Yeah.
he disintegrated because his body was under meltdown and the radiation just seeped out.
Okay.
And there's a lot of talk of like a lot of the sailors are going to be dealing with the same thing that she's dealing with because she got caught in the blast. And like, how did she live? How did she survive? Because they were like a few blocks away from the blast. She got blown back, and then like a nuclear blast, air got sucked back into the city.
Yeah.
So she would have been tossed like a rag doll, hitting every sign, window, and wall, and car flying around. So she should be in pieces, not, you know, a simple bandage and a broken arm.
Right.
I personally hope, because I like Mothra, I am
Uh-huh.
hoping that she has something like she either turns into like one of Mothra's guardians or she turns into Mothra. I'm really stretching here because this movie has nothing to do with like the Showa era and all of that stuff, but
Right.
I would still like Mothra to show up because that's my second favorite kaiju from like the whole thing.
Well, Mothra's great. I mean, have you heard the fan theories that it's Biolante?
That it's who?
Biolante?
Is that the dog armadillo looking thing?
That one is it looks like a Fraggle from like Fraggle Rock. Like that's like the best thing I can like. But
Okay,
it is a rose and human and Godzilla mutant hybrid.
that could
And
be it. That could
it
definitely
was-
be it.
It was that they took some of Godzilla's genes and they tried to like heal somebody with it back in the
Yeah.
day,
Well,
and they
you
turned
could
into this.
you could definitely have it that like because she survived the blast, the radiation mutated her, and she
Yeah.
got like the radiation from Zilla and Godzilla in her.
Mhm.
But who knows really? And I'm just happy about that scene because I know there's going to be a second movie at some point. But again, it could be 7-8 years down the road.
That's
we have
fine.
no
That's
idea.
fine. Like give me
Because he's gonna
another
take his
good,
time.
well-thought movie. Yes.
Yeah, like
tell us
I-
he's
what
going
needs
to take
be
his
told.
time.
I had to go back into Netflix to watch that because I did not catch that vein
Did you catch
thing
it?
at all. I did, yeah. I don't know
Good.
how I didn't miss that. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I also got distracted on Netflix because evidently there's a show called King of Collectibles, and the poster for it is just the Batman symbol, like a bat suit from the 90s.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to watch that now. So
You weren't distracted by Perfect Match, that reality show where they take all the failed Love Is Blind contestants and then give them another reality show?
no.
No,
I also
saw
wanted
that
to-
today.
I also wasn't distracted by Unfrosted,
What is Unfrosted?
the Jerry Seinfeld Pop Tart movie.
What?
Yeah. It's not,
Why?
I don't know.
Ugh. Gross.
Mm.
Fine. Back to Godzilla, the good thing.
So my only critique about this movie, and it has nothing to do with the movie itself, the voice actors for the English dub did a
Okay.
decent job for what they had to work with. I don't know how you guys watched the movie. However you
dub.
watched it is okay. That's fine.
Oh.
I fully support people watching foreign movies in English if that's what they prefer, because that's fine. Like, I'm not one of these people that you see online that's like, oh, it's got to be in the original. so much and all this other stuff. I'm not um I'm not one of those people, but personally for me, I feel like in this specific English dub, some of the stress and joy in some of the scenes that I really liked from the movie theater was a little bit dull in the English dub compared to it being in Japanese. And there's a simple reason for that. And it's nothing against the English actors that voiced that did the voices. It's because the actors that were on set filming were in character with everything around them and they were in the moment. The voice actors have to go into a booth, watch the film, get the translation, and try to match that as much as possible without the surrounding, without being really in the moment. So the English dub does do a good job considering. That's literally the only fault I have. And it's not even a fault. It's just a small little thing that I noticed when I watched them both on the same day.
I let Netflix decide. I literally clicked on it and went, I don't know how this is going to come to. Whatever language options are set by default.
He watched it in Dutch with
just...
Spanish subtitles.
It's like the time him and I did the Celine Dion biopic that didn't have English subtitles or an English dub. It was in French.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up watching it in Spanish because I had a better grasp of that language than I did French Canadian.
She has a biopic coming out next week, and that was almost my pick for next week, was the movie that we had watched, but let's try to find the English version.
No,
I won't do that to you guys.
I refuse.
I know, I won't do it.
I do not need to see a 55-year-old woman playing a 5-year-old again.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah, so that's all I have for Godzilla. I'm happy that you guys enjoyed it. I will be bringing other Toho Japanese Godzilla movies into the mix. I think I know what I'm going to do after whatever my next pick is. After that, I'm going to go back and forth between my movies I thought were the bomb when I was a teen and Godzilla movies. I'm just going to go back and forth.
I'm so excited for this duo of yours.
It's going to be like a year's worth of just bad movies from Ryan. It's going to be
fine. Bring it on.
The one thing I want to talk about quick is just the theme, like the musical.
Yeah.
Theme.
Oh yeah.
Because the only music from Godzilla that I know is the Wallflowers singing David Bowie. So I didn't realize that was that was the Godzilla theme from the original film, right?
That is the Godzilla theme from the original film. They just modernized it a little bit.
Okay.
And Godzilla's roar is the original from the original movie. They piped it over giant speakers and re-recorded it for this movie. So they didn't even redo his roar. It's classic. Nice. I love it.
It gave me a better appreciation of Cloverfield. Because like I said, this is the first time I've watched any of these Japanese Godzilla films. I love Cloverfield. I saw it 5 times in theaters. Twice I think was with Devin. Actually, I think every time I saw it in theaters was with Devin. Yep. What I like about that film is there's no music. There's no music throughout. It's just the handheld camera stuff the whole time until you get to the credits. And then there's the Michael Giacchino roar suite, which is very reminiscent of the Godzilla theme here. And I think, Ryan, you should check that out, just that piece of music, and listen to it, because it's like a 9-minute piece of just music for Cloverfield, and it's very reminiscent of the theme for Godzilla, which gave me a huge appreciation for that film, which I want to go back and revisit.
That would be fun.
Okay. I'll definitely look it up. But yeah, this was one of the first like movie soundtracks that I had I went right to Apple Music. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't you. It was it was Alan's reminder.
Oh, okay. This was one of the first movies where I went to I went to Apple Music and I put the soundtrack in my playlist or in my library thing. And that was the first time I've done that to an actual movie soundtrack score. Since
Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides.
no,
Damn it.
no. It was a Star Wars movie.
I was gonna say Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, yeah. It's been since Force Awakens. So.
I had to...
God, I don't even know the last score I added to my music was. Oh, soundtrack wise, I'll tell you what it is. The last score that I added was Roar from Cloverfield. But soundtrack wise, the last song that I added was "Hit Me Baby One More Time" from Kung Fu Panda 4.
It's so good. It's so good.
By Tenacious D. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Anything else we want to talk about with Godzilla Minus One?
No,
I'm good.
Thank you for having me watch this. I cannot wait to watch Shin Godzilla. I haven't seen any of it yet, and I'm really excited to.
Yeah, Shin Godzilla might be next, actually. I might go backwards on this. So
I-
Shin, and then the original.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch Godzilla Kong New Empire because when I watched Game of Thrones, I got the advertising saying "coming soon." It was like that,
Oh,
and
cool.
Dune 2,
Yeah.
and the Penguin.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got new Empire is great because it's just bonkers stupid. Like King Kong grabs a baby Kong and uses him as a mallet to beat off other Kongs. It's great. It's so stupid. It's amazing. Like you got this little monkey kid that tries to be slick with Kong to trap him, and Kong's like no, and just grabs him by the ankles and him to beat off the other Kongs coming out of the woods. It's great. It's
Yeah.
great.
It's weird. Like I've been thinking about it because but the box office has been so bad this year, and looking at everything that's been a hit, it's all reboots and sequels and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me is we should try to stay away from all that stuff. So Devin, what's your pick for next week?
Speaking of reboots and sequels, in honor of the new Beverly Hills Cop movie that's coming out, we're going to watch the original Beverly Hills Cop because apparently Alan hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
I love
It's
I
good.
love this movie. I like
It's
this
fun.
movie a lot. Yeah.
It's
I don't know
fun.
how it holds up, but I remember really liking it.
It's not gonna hold up well, but it's gonna be
That's
fun.
fair. I mean, I wonder if it holds up better than Joe Dirt. That's now our baseline.
Oh God, that's the baseline. Oh man,
That is rock bottom. Is it better or worse? It's a Joe Dirt scale.
Oh,
Could always
man.
watch Dude Where's My Car and make that rock bottom.
I haven't seen that movie ever, so someone can throw that my way.
Alan, that's all yours if you want to do that.
Nope, I'm good. I've got a list of things I want to get through. So
Okay.
Cannot wait.
yeah. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube page, like us on Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Until next time, for You Have to Watch This Podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin. I was just watching that clip a second ago.
See you next week.
I'm glad that was the first thing that came to your mind.